Welcome to Child Right Art Education Series with Olakunle Sanni. Today's edition will be looking at section 23, which is still under the part 3 of the Child Right Arts. And as you already know, part 3 covers the protection of the rights of the child. So the section 23 speaks to punishment for child marriage and betrothal. Punishment for child marriage and betrothal. This section goes further to say a person who marries a child or to whom a child is betrothed or who promotes the marriage of a child or who betroths a child commits an offense and is liable on conviction to a fine of 500,000 naira or imprisonment for a term of 5 years or to both such fine and imprisonment. That is section 23 of the Child Right Act. So this section is basically speaking to the punishment that will be given to anyone who commits this offense. As you already know, we already stated the prohibition of child marriage in section 21, the prohibition of child betrothal in section 22, and this section 23 goes further to now speak about the punishment for anyone who goes against these provisions. And so the first one there is that whoever marries a child, that is, if you decide to go in search and then choose a child as your wife, or maybe choose a child as your husband, then this punishment that is being stated here is what the court will consider in the course of administering the case. Or then it also goes on that to whom a child is betrothed, that is somebody that receives, or somebody that is being given a child for the purpose of marrying that child. So if somebody gives you, even though you are not the one that went to seek out the hand of that child in marriage, and maybe the parents of the child decide to betroth, I may give that child to you for the purpose of marriage or for the purpose of marrying that child, then you are also this punishment that is stated there is also applicable to such person. Then there is also the person who this also addresses those who promote the marriage of a child, maybe a community, a religious leader, a community leader, or maybe any individual, that if you also promote marriage of a child, this punishment is not only for those who have married this child, or is not only for that person who has a child, whom a child has been betrothed, but also somebody who promotes child marriage. And so once you also promote child marriage, the person is also guilty of this offense. I mean, is guilty as stated in this Child Right Act. And so we do, this means that and it's also talked about, goes further to say that apart from somebody that promotes that, a person who betroths a child, that means this person that also gives that child out, even though he's not the one that is marrying that child, but this parent, for example, this father or the mother who has given that child into marriage is also, or giving that child to that person to marry, is also guilty of this. So you can see there are 4 categories that are stated here: the person who marries a child, the person whom a child is being given to for the purpose of marriage, the person who promotes that child marriage, and then this person who also gives us that child to another person to marry, or to just or maybe to just to address a kind of or create a kind of, put a child in a family system. And so we have to consider, we have to remember that, so these 4 people, so when we're talking about child marriage or child betrothal, you are not just looking at those who married the children alone, or the child, those who married children, but those who also are engaged in the process or facilitate the process of marriage between a child and an adult, or those who also just are the one that serve as the ladder with which the marriage took place. So this offense of 500,000, I mean, this punishment of 500,000 naira, and also punishment of 5 years imprisonment is what is being stated here. Though this is dependent on the interpretation of the courts. Like I've said, when you look at when you watch your video on the on YouTube, it's stated there in the constitution that this my position does not necessarily mean the position of the court of law. What I'm only doing here is to explain, and is to say it according to what I'm able to read from these provisions. So those are the things for the for section 23. I hope this will serve as a guide for those of us who work in the area of child marriage or child betrothal, and so that we can know those people we are looking out for who may have committed this offense. So we are not looking at only those who have married those children, but those who also facilitate the process. And this is also a good point for the police officers, for the security agencies, or the legal officers who are also going to be taking action to ensure that we stop the habit of child marriage or child betrothal, so that we know that we're not only looking for the offenders are not just those who married those children, but also those who facilitated the process of getting that child into the marriage. And many people have said that, let me go a bit further. Many people have said that when we are talking about marriage, they think we're only talking about sex. There are other provisions in this child right that speaks to the sexual offenses, or having sexual engagement with the child. But this basically talk about child marriage or child betrothal, because child marriage is not only just about sex. It's looking at the responsibilities that comes with having a child, giving a child out into marriage. Marriage is not just about sex. Marriage comes with responsibilities. And so this Child Right Act is trying to prevent a child being burdened with those responsibilities that comes with marriage, because the child is not matured enough to handle those responsibilities, and for the child to be adequately protected from being given these responsibilities, and this punishment are being set out in this provision. So thank you. I hope you have clicked your subscribe button. If you have not done so, please do that now. Quickly subscribe button to support this assignment, and also ensure that you share with other people, so that they can learn about the rights of the child. Thank you. See you again tomorrow as we look at section 24 of the Child Right Act. Thank you.